Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Good, awesome. It's good to see you all here. I'm excited for today. All right, let's see. So, I'm just kind of taking roll right now. Just give me a quick moment, but we'll go ahead and get started in like just a little bit. I'm also just gonna let like a couple people trickle in a little. Let's see. Just need to save this. Today's the 26th. All right. Sorry, I'm almost done. Just want to see who's in here on time. Perfect. All right, then just gonna double check. All right, everything is recording. Perfect, perfect. So in case you weren't here last week because you were on waitlist or something and you just got in, I do record every class session. It's just for just to help y'all out. Y'all will have something to get back to. Also on that note, I apologize for last week. I didn't know until like when I tried to edit the video that the file got corrupted, but apparently it crashed like a couple minutes like into class, and it was only like a couple minutes long, and then it was just all like blank. But yeah, I sincerely apologize for that video. That totally sucks. I am really grateful that we still all got to meet up on GoToMeeting. I don't know if y'all saw the news, but like pretty much like a lot of people like had that Zoom problem. So very, very grateful we all still got to meet up. Um, it's a recording now, though. Everything should be good. I also have a second recording up, just in case. Oop, perfect, perfect. So I'm recording this conference through GoToMeeting's recording, and I'm using my own personal one. So we'll have both of those just in case. But okay, so I'm going to kind of go through our routine today. Okay, so every day when we come in, right in the beginning, I'm just going to kind of go through our routine. Now, if you want to see the routine, though, you can actually find it on Canvas, all right? So I'm going to share my screen right now. Let's see. There we go. Now, everyone can see my screen, right? Just want to double check. Perfect. Awesome, awesome, cool. Thank you, thank you. All right. Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So, pretty much like if you want to check out our routine, so I put all of the modules up here. So each one of these sections are called modules. They're divided into like the sessions that we're meeting up for. So anything new will be anything new and introduced on that day will be posted on that day. So today we got a bunch of like cool stuff. So some new things is I got our Project One up here, Project One rubric. You'll always have this like link over here that says download before class. Those are like files that I usually sent them over email, and but they're on here just in case like someone didn't get the email. So be sure to always check Canvas, okay? Whatever it is, etc. Like everything is always on there, and whatever is on Canvas is like true to like whatever it says. Okay, so if I email you something and I accidentally do a typo, like if I say like it's like 20 points, but then I accidentally put on the email it's like 30 points. Check on Canvas. If it says 20 points on Canvas, then it's like 20 points on Canvas. Okay. Other than that, like projects will always be the same points, but I'll go over all that today. So if you want to check out like what we're going to be learning today, you'll click lessons and routines. So we're going to be doing kind of like a digital illustration orientation, or more of like a Sketchbook Pro orientation, just to kind of get you all used to the interface. And then I'll also have announcements too. All right, so feel free to like look over this. So we'll be going over Sketchbook Pro. We're gonna play around with it, learn the perspective tools, and then we're gonna have a little bit of lab time today. And I do want to have a little bit of lab time today just so I can help y'all out with Sketchbook Pro at the end of class. I'm not sure who has class after this, but this time will be dedicated for people who need to find out how to do certain things during the class. This also includes like, if you have like blog issues, I can also help you out with that like then. All right. And I'll kind of go over the blog in a bit too. Announcements. Okay. So announcements. So I have these up here just to remind y'all and to remind me of what's kind of going on. Okay. Sometimes I'll throw on some things in our class routine of the day on there just to remind me what to do. So really quickly, if you didn't get the email, we will be, well, I'm sure everyone got the email because we're all on GoToMeeting, but we'll probably use GoToMeeting. Okay. Now the thing that does like kind of suck about GoToMeeting is they don't have private breakout rooms. So what that means is that if you wanted to do like a private talk with me after class, I would have to have you leave the room and then invite you to a meeting room and all that kind of stuff, which is a little bit of a hassle for y'all and I. I just wish they had like breakout rooms, that'd be great. But we will have Zoom as backup, okay? Like in case like GoToMeeting pulls like a Zoom on us, we're going to go back to Zoom if that ever happens. Okay, so that's just kind of the protocol. I just want to let everybody know ahead of time, just so like if one day like you click the GoToMeeting link, it's like servers are shut down or something, expect like a Zoom link to follow after. All right, and if you find out before me, like and I haven't sent out an email yet, like do me a favor, just send me an email and tell me that, because like sometimes I might not have checked it yet, but usually I will check it like. I usually wake up like an hour, like at like 6:30, and then like I check everything like, while I eat breakfast. Um, Other than that, make sure to have your tablet next Monday. Okay, we're gonna start using our tablet. For today, if you have your tablet, you can like kind of participate in some of the stuff. But if you don't have your tablet, you might not be able to do some of the things in class. For the perspective tool, you actually don't need a tablet, which is kind of crazy. But like so if you wanted to like do the perspective tool part with us, you can totally use a mouse. Okay, I'm going to go over blog troubleshooting a little bit today too. All right, so if you have trouble posting on the blog, okay, um, yeah, if you have a trouble posting on the blog and stuff like that, I'm going to show you all like and kind of go over like personally like how to get added onto the blog and how to post. Okay, and afterwards, like when we start doing the lab time, if you're still having like trouble and stuff like that, I'll personally come and help you out. All right. We'll also talk about Project One today, the rubric today, and then also we'll also go over how to make like a mood board and stuff like that. All right. Other than that, holidays coming up. On Monday, September 7th, there's no class. Okay, so just remember that. And also, I put I kind of combined the homework section with the announcement sections. So all your homework dates are up here. All right, and there are a couple new ones that I'll go over later today. But everything is here, and the link is always next to it. So all you got to do is if you see a homework assignment, all right, all you got to do is click that link. All right, it should download it. There we go. And then once you have like the save as page, you can just save it to wherever it'll download. You click it, boom, it's up here. All right. So it's been like simplified for everyone, so it makes it a lot easier for people to find. All right. And other than that, that's pretty much it for announcements. Does anyone have any questions about the announcements before we move on, or move on with the class and things like that? Oh, oh, sorry. Who wants to go first? Oh, sure. Craig, how about you go first? Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that's strange. Let's see. It says announcements slash homework updates every week. There we go. So I saved it again. If you want to try checking it, try refreshing the page and checking it out again, it should work. So I have a student view. It should kind of, oh, what the heck? Okay, yeah, so y'all can't see it actually. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that heads up. Okay, so here's what we'll do. Oh, the new information? Usually I'll Mhm. uh y- so usually I'll update a lot of the info like I'll say in terms of like announcements, I usually do that like the day before, just because like day before a class session, just because like I want to make sure that everything is like up to date right before I talk to y'all. But like download before class, that'll usually done like sometime before class starts. It'll be ready like before class so y'all can download it. Same with lessons and routine. That'll probably like come out like at latest, like everything will usually come out the day before a session. I would say. There are some things that may come out a little bit earlier, and that is like, so I just kind of opened this up right now. So the week 2 Monday lessons, because there's going to be stuff y'all need to post on that over the weekend. And also the week 3 discussion, I just opened that up too for people who want to get that finished early. But I'll kind of go over how those work. But yeah, usually you can expect stuff done like before expect all this info up before the next session, and there'll be some stuff I'll hide until like the session starts. So for example, like the project one, like I didn't open that up until this morning, just because like in case like there was like anything or a typo going on, I have like time to like change and fix it and things like that. But does that kind of help out? Yeah, perfect, perfect, awesome. So any other questions before we kind of get started with the class? And then if y'all want to double check again, oh, sorry, what's up? Not, oh, awesome. Perfect, perfect. So they're all answered. So yeah, they should all be up here now. So it should kind of look like this. So you guys have the week 2 Monday discussion, the week 3 Monday discussion. For the week 3 Monday discussion is actually not due on Monday. It's due on Tuesday, and it's because I want you all to have Labor Day off. So if y'all, so you'll have an extra day to like do that one, but it's an online thing, so all you got to do is post on that. But we'll kind of go over that in a bit. Okay, so just to kind of bring up some stuff, so I'm gonna go over the blog really quickly before we start any of the lessons. But yeah, if you haven't gone on the blog yet, go ahead and go on the blog and take a look at some of the cool art people posted so far. We got some awesome stuff, some paintings, paintings of furniture, some awesome concept art and posters. This is awesome right here, this illustration. I love this. Super cool stuff. Some awesome anime scenes, backgrounds, characters. Super cool. Wow, nice rendering. Excellent, excellent. Ooh, this is really nice. Excellent stippling. Now, I'm going to kind of show y'all how to post on the blog for those of y'all who are kind of confused on it. Also, I want to keep in mind, so make sure to title stuff correctly. There's no name on this one, so I can't give credit because there's no name on this one. There's also no name on this one over here, and it's not titled correctly, so I can't give credit for this one either. So go ahead and fix that up before next week so I can give you credit, okay? Um, Otherwise, there's not going to be credit. But let me kind of go over how to like post on the blog, all right? So I'll send like a step-by-step typed out thing too, and I'll also resend that video I made last week. But we are gonna use a blog. I know it's kind of confusing, but but it is like something I want you all to find out how to do, okay? And I'll walk you all through step by step. But this is a pretty popular blogging website, and you will see like artwork being posted on here from time to time. And I do know a couple other professors that also like to use this, and they'll do the same thing. So, just for like that sake, and also for the sake of posting, I'm trying to make sure that y'all build a good posting habit, okay? Because, a lot of times these days when you are doing art, back then how people say like, oh, don't be an artist because like you die when you only like become famous when you die, or something like that, right? Well, that's not really the case anymore, right? This is 2020. We live in a social media world. Posting regularly, not like every day. You don't have to post every day, but like, once or twice a week is usually like pretty good. But making sure that you have a presence is really important because like I said last week, there are people who are going to like your art and people who aren't going to like your art. It happens all the time. Okay? Um, I once, what is it? Had someone say they didn't like my art because, there weren't any like chibi characters in there, and but my that world I was making, that environment I was making is not set for that world, But that's more of a personal thing, right? But you want to make sure you find your niche, okay? So the people when you post, people that like your art, that's who your audience is, and you're gonna learn who your audience is, and you're gonna find out what they like, and you're gonna continue to post things like that, okay? And also, when you do post for your own social media, make sure to post for yourself more than anyone else. It's even though it's for your audience, it's more importantly for you because that's what you love and that's what you want to share with the world, right? But go ahead and like fix up these like titles if you can, if you're missing them. So back to the blog. So if you're posting for a blog, step one is you need a Gmail account. Okay. Oh, uh-huh. What's up? Uh-huh. Uh, oh. Oh yeah, post up whatever. This is your personal stuff. I just want to see what you like, where you are in your art life, regardless if it's original art or not. Like I just want to see like what you like to do and where you are, like I said. So even if it's traditional painting, traditional sketches, even if you want to do a sculpture, like show us a sculpture. Like I'd love to check it out. Like and the best thing too is we're all gonna be looking at each other's work. We're gonna be like filling our brain with like we're gonna be helping our visual library. We're gonna be increasing it, right? Seeing what other people do, the techniques they use on there, the materials they used, the styles. Look at so cool. Like these like three different like styles. Like we have this isometric one. This is like a super awesome creature, right? We got so much stuff on here. So yeah, just post anything you want, okay? Just make sure that it's your best work, and if you don't have like four pieces, it's okay to post three. For this one, I'm mostly checking for completion and making sure that y'all like get on the blog, and also making sure that uh, yeah, pretty much like checking for completion, making sure you all get on the blog, and also following instructions, making sure you guys title stuff correctly. It's all part of professionalism for those parts. All right, just making sure those things are done correctly, and that way, like, later in the semester, I'll know there's not going to be any trouble with it. Does that kind of help out? Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. So back to posting on the blog. So you have to make a Gmail account and you got to send me your Gmail account. Okay. Once you send me your Gmail account, I will add you. All right. So when I add you, you should get a email notification, and sometimes it goes into the spam folder. So I would check both. Okay, but it must be a Gmail account. I added everyone's account that everyone's email that was just kind of given to me by the school, like the one that y'all just registered with. Some of them weren't Gmail accounts, some of them were. The ones that were like got in a lot easier. The ones that weren't, they sent you an invitation, but they also said that you need to make a Gmail account once you click the invitation. So once you've made the Gmail account, you sent it to me, I add you in, and I will send you a verification to like, hey, I got your, hey, I added you in, and then I'll send you like like the list of instructions after. Um, but once you get added in, what you have to do is on the top right corner, it'll say new post. Okay, you should have your email. Okay, oh yeah, and also make sure to log out off of all your Gmails except for the one that I added you with. Okay, it doesn't happen to everyone, but it does happen to some people, and I have already run into people who had this situation. But sometimes when you log into multiple Gmail accounts and you post on Blogger, if you sent me a secondary email account that's a Gmail account, when you click new post, it will assume you want to post as your primary email account. And then since the primary one is not added in, what happens is that it'll just say that you need to be added again. And then it starts being all confusing. And then like for some reason it doesn't let you switch, which is like, you know, super it's not very well designed. Like that person needs to be talked to or but yeah, also on another note, like this is also really hidden on the top right too. But yeah, you're gonna click new post, okay? So once you're added in, you log out of all your Gmail except for the one that you want to post. You want to post stuff with. You're gonna click new post, okay? It should bring you to a page like this, or it should bring you to a page like this. So one or the other, okay? And once you're in this page, all right, all you got to do is go to this little picture button. You can click photos, all right, and then you can start adding. Oh, I guess this is for my Google Photos. So you go to upload from computer, choose files. There we go. And then from there on out, you can upload a file. So I'm just going to upload a random one. And I'll show you how to resize the image too. Some people have like super huge images. So usually it should resize correctly once you like submit it, but just in case, like, you know, it's like, let's just say it's like huge, you know, like it's like super huge. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of click it. Sometimes you have to double click it, and then there should be like these little buttons over here. The plus button's gonna make it bigger. The minus button will make it smaller. So you're just gonna keep clicking it until it kind of fits on the page. You'll click publish, and again, week 1. 4 best pieces, and then what is it? Jesse Pack. So that's my name. So make sure to have it set like this, okay? It is part of professionalism to make sure that you title things correctly. You know, if you're sending a file to your boss and you get the raw and you know you don't like label it correctly or something like that, you're gonna get written up, okay? And if it happens a second time, you know you're fired. All right. So just make sure to get that done correctly. All right. Perfect, perfect. So that's kind of how you add it in. Don't forget, you do need a Gmail account. Okay, so please, please, please email me your Gmail account. All right. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Any questions on posting on the Blogger? And let me check the chat really quick. Uh-huh. Oh, did you want to go first, Michael? Since, oh, yes, you have to sign up with the Gmail account. So you just go to gmail.com, and then it'll say like sign up, and then all you got to do is sign up with it, sign up for it. So this is my Gmail account, so I have to log out of everything if I want to sign up. But just sign up with it, and then just send me your email address after, and then that's pretty much it. And then from there on out, I'll have a list of instructions that I'll send over later today, along with the video again, and you just have to make sure to follow those instructions. Mhm. Yeah, my pleasure. And then Camden, I think I heard your voice after, right? Did you have a question? Hello? Can you all hear me? No? Okay. And then Melly, let's see, is the blog where we're posting our weekly sketches? Yes, the blog is where we're posting our weekly sketches. So that's available. Yeah, so that's going to be dedicated just to our weekly sketches. Any other stuff I asked to post on there, sometimes we'll post stuff on there, sometimes we won't. So kind of like piggybacking off of last week's topic on like, will we be like critiquing in the discussions? Okay, or will we be critiquing on the blogs? Things like that. Like I said, I don't do advising over email, but there will be some critiques that we'll go over via discussion or blog. Okay, that I'll have y'all do virtually. And those would be like thumbnails and stuff. So for example, like sometimes, so upcoming on, what is it? On, let's see, yeah, week 3 on Tuesday when I have you all post your thumbnails on Tuesday. And by the way, you can post it anytime on Tuesday. Just make sure it doesn't reach Wednesday. Okay. But you can. So what you'll do is you'll post 15 to 20 of your thumbnail iterations for project one. Okay. And then you'll label them. And then pretty much like I'll have everyone vote on each of y'all's. So everybody should vote on everyone's thumbnails, like which ones they want. So it'll be really easy. It'll be like 1, 3. I like 1, 3, and 5, or I like C, D, and F. Like I like those iterations. It'll be very, very simple like that. All right. So unless like I don't mention to post it on the blog or the discussion, well, for sketches and stuff, they're always going to be on the blog. Okay. But and then sometimes like we might post other stuff too. But any other questions? Does that help out too, Melly? Oh, I didn't know your audio canceled out, Camden. Awesome, Melly. Oh yeah, and Camden, I was just asking, did you have a question? I heard your voice earlier. Hmm. Oh man, maybe there's some technical issues. Oh, well, anyways, I'm just gonna kind of move on so we don't like use up too much time. But if y'all do have like more questions, feel free to ask. I'll be here and I'll stay a bit after class too to answer any questions. But other than that, let's see. So let's go over project one, and then I'll go over the sketchbook, okay? Then I'll go over Sketchbook Pro or Sketchbook app, all right? So really, really quickly for project one. So I actually wanted to do this before, after I show you all Sketchbook, but I think it might be good to kind of just show you all project one now. All right, so for project one, we are going to be doing a perspective project, okay? It's a 2-point perspective scene. All right, and the reason why I want to show you all this is so I can kind of talk about the discussion homeworks coming up before we start jumping into like, doing Sketchbook Pro and stuff, but or Sketchbook app. Sorry, I just keep calling it Sketchbook Pro. But so project one's gonna be a 2-point perspective scene. It's due Monday, okay, 9 on the 14th of September, okay. So the objective and guidelines, all right? So it's a total of 100 points, okay? All your projects are going to be a total of 100 points, all right? It's going to be using the Sketchbook app and the perspective tool in the Sketchbook app to create an original interior or exterior architectural scene, all right? And you can do it in 2-point, or if you're really, really, really ambitious, 3-point. Okay, but the requirement is 2-point. If you do a really good 2-point, you'll still get like you could still get like 100% on this, all right? But the 3-point is just for people who really, really want to go above and beyond for it with it, okay? But no 1-point, all right? We will be doing 1-point like exercises, but we will be like, you know, doing the project in 2-point, all right? If you do your piece in 1-point perspective, it just forfeit 1 letter grade, all right? So that's 10 points, all right? So you can pick and choose if that's what you want to do, all right? But the goal is to kind of learn how to do a 2-point and kind of create a scene out of it, all right? It's only lines and graphic tones, okay? No color, all right? So we'll be focusing a lot on line art mostly. I would say most of it is going to be line art. And then we're going to be having like very simple tones on top of it. So I'll kind of show you all some samples of that in a bit. Okay, your scene must have a sense of depth and perspective. Okay, so when I look at your scene, I have to see that things are going far away. There's overlapping. There's like turning points. Things are diminishing in size. All that kind of stuff. All right, and then there should have a sense of perspective. So when I do look at like the things like your walls, your pillars, or whatever they are, there should be some sort of sense of like horizon line, vanishing point, etc., etc. Okay. If you don't know what that is, I'll kind of go over that when I go over the perspective tool. All right, but there should be like correct perspective in there and a sense of it. All right. So in that sense, like you probably need like buildings and like human-made things, etc. You must have a clear focal point, okay, and a clear visual hierarchy to help me create eye movement. So that's really important. All right. So that means that I shouldn't be like looking at your picture and being like, oh, I don't know what to look at. All right, there should be a really, really clear focal point, and then afterwards, my eyes move out of that or the things move my eyes into the focal point in the end. Does that make sense? So a good visual hierarchy. What do I look first? What do I look at second? What do I look at third? And then how does it bring me back to the focal point so I can do that all again? All right. Your art can be stylized, but not too cartoony. Okay, so what I mean by that is I don't mind if you want to do it in an animation style. I don't mind if you want, but it shouldn't look like minimalistic, if that makes sense. Like for example, if I ask y'all to draw a character design, uh, you know, I mean, if anyone has seen like Cyanide and Happiness, that comic series, they're just stick figures, right? I mean, they're cute, funny characters, but like there should be more than that. So just keep in mind, I don't mind if your art is stylized. Like stylized art can look super super cool, but I just don't want it to be like too minimalistic. Okay, so it can be cartoony, but not like super super like you know 1D or you know like just like very like minimal. Okay, so make sure it does have good amount of detail, etc. And then your scene must tell a story or have a personality. Okay, so it can't be like an empty room or something like that. I should get some sort of sense of personality in it. I should get some sort of like story in it. All right, and last but not least, your file size, if you can, should be 10 by 20 inches at 300 resolution. Now, I do understand we're all working from home, and everybody might have like different types of computer specs. All right. If you can't do a 10 by 20, okay, start to like diminish it by 1 inch and then talk to me. Okay. Make sure to communicate to me. All right. Like if uh if for some reason like well if you like give me like a really small file size and I have no idea that you ran into this issue, then that's going to be counted against your grade even if you told me after the project. I'm just going to be like, look, sorry, like you should have told me before. All right, same situation in the industry. If you run into an issue, you don't tell your team, you don't tell your boss, you do it already, and you submit it, and then you're like, well, I thought that was the best I could do, so I thought I must have done, I thought like this is what I'm supposed to do, then you get in trouble, okay? Um, Especially if it's like a huge, 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 huge project, people just want to make sure that you're getting things like done correctly, especially if you run into issue, that doesn't go along with the project. But do we have any questions about the objective or guidelines so far? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll go over that when I go over how to do like the thumbnails. Sorry, I'm just checking to see if my okay, cool. My recording's still going, so that's good. But yeah, I'll definitely go over like kind of how to do that. We'll also be doing like we'll also be doing critiques and I'll also be checking on all y'all's work. So, along the way I will like kind of like look at your stuff and like let you know like which things work, which things don't, et cetera, things like that. But yeah, I will definitely go over how to create a composition and create a focal point and then create things to frame your focal point and move your eyes along the room. Any other questions? And just let me check the chat super quick. 2 point and 3 point perspective. Yeah, sure. I can kind of go over that when I do the perspective tool. That might be a little bit easier. I can also show you all some samples in a bit too of like artwork that I'm kind of like looking for. Would that be okay, Melly? Awesome, awesome, cool. So yeah, I'll kind of go over like a horizon line, vanishing points, orthogonal lines, how perspective works. Today we'll go over 1 point perspective. All right. Required submissions. Okay, so these are things you got to turn in. Whoops, spelled that wrong. These are things you have to turn in. Okay. All the artwork goes into the Google Drive. All right. So I'm gonna make a folder. It should say Project One or something like that. All right. So I think I've already actually made it. So Fullerton College. Ooh, it's slow today. Well, anyways, under your folder there should be like a project. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Work submissions. There we go. We just kind of wait for that, and then it should say like projects in there, and it should say like project one, etc. What you're gonna do? Yeah. Oh, whoops, not resubmissions. So resubmissions is where you throw your resubmissions. All right. So under that, let's say project one, 2 point perspective, project due 9-14. You're gonna create a folder. So for me, it's Jesse Pack, okay? And then this is where you would throw in all of your stuff. All right. So the things that you need to throw in are going to be 3 mood boards. Okay. And if you've never made a mood board before, I'm about to show you. All right. They should contain references of each of these categories. Okay. Art styles that you plan to reference, designs that you plan to reference, and the overall mood of your drawing or painting or your illustration. Okay. And since this is going to be a black and white project, I would be looking at values more than color. Okay, separate each board into its own category. Okay, so you shouldn't be throwing everything on one board. You want to organize it a little bit. You can start by throwing everything onto one board, but afterwards you have to like kind of separate it out. Okay, 10 images per board. Okay, and also you need to turn in sketches, research, processes towards your final version. This is 1 to 2 page requirement. Okay, I'm not too picky about this, but it shouldn't look like you did like 2 iterations and then got started on the final. What I basically just want to see is like, are you doing like thumbnail sketches? Are you refining thumbnail sketches? And are you doing like studies or are you like design, testing out stuff before you jump into the final version? Okay, so just like, are you brainstorming correctly? That's basically what I'm saying. All right, if I see like 2 sketches in your sketches and you throw them and that's not enough. Okay, but if I see like 10 like thumbnail sketches and then like 5 of them are the same thumbnails but with like lighting designs in there, and then I see like one of the lighting designs get refined and then a final that's perfect. Okay, so just make sure that you're showing that you're actually brainstorming. All right, and then for your final project, you're just gonna submit that in. Okay, it's going to be an you're gonna label it as last name underscore first name underscore project one DART107F fall 2020. That's important. Okay, if you don't label it correctly, okay, you lose a letter grade. All right, like I said, treat me as if I'm your art studio director. Pretend we are at like a company, and then you all are artists that I am expecting to do work for other clients. Okay, this is what the client wants. So if I don't get that, then there's going to be some sort of penalty for it. All right, no name equals failure. Okay, that's it. All right, if you don't have your name on the project, then I'm not even gonna bother grading it. Okay, even if you like submit everything like and there's no name on it, like I'm sorry, I'm not gonna look at it. So please have your name on it. Okay, and also when you submit your files, I do need a JPEG of the file, so I'll show you how to save as JPEGs if you don't know how. And I do need rather a TIFF or a PSD file. Okay, so the JPEG is just going to be a flattened image. Okay, the flattened as in like the layers are flattened on the program. And the PSD and TIFF file are files that are unedited so that I can go in and check your layers and see how you did things, etc., etc. All right. And you can separate these into 3 folders inside the folder of your name. Okay, so I will kind of, what is it? Did I close it? Oh, there it is. I will make a sample submission in here with like random pictures. They'll be labeled correctly, and you'll see the right type of files, things like that. But there will be a sample submissions folder just so y'all can like reference that. Yeah. So actually, I'm just gonna really quickly make my name. Oh, change color, so red. So this will be the sample submissions folder, okay? So if you need to find out how to label things or whatever, you can go look at the folder under my name, and that's exactly how I want things turned in, okay? Any questions about the required submissions before I start showing y'all some samples of the work? No? Okay, so I'm gonna move on, okay? Y'all can still hear me, right? I just want to double check. Yes? Uh, Wait, perfect, perfect. For JPEG over PNG, honestly, like, JPEGs are more compressed files, so they're just gonna be lower in file size usually. So that's why I kind of prefer them. PNG is like okay for the most part, but there are certain things that are a little bit different about it. Like for PNGs, like if you wanted to, you could like turn on a certain setting where, and you have to kind of do it in Photoshop or a drawing program, where when you save it and you do like certain things with like the layers. And I don't think we'll go over that in this class. They may be in like a more Photoshop like Photoshop tool heavy class. But in terms of like PNGs, usually there are other things you can do to it. So like for example, like you could save like a picture. Let's just say I drew a character and I wanted the background to be transparent. You could do that with the PNG, but not with the JPEG. So there are certain little things that you can do in PNGs that JPEGs can't do. JPEGs are usually just like flattened images, but you can get really nice quality JPEGs, and some printers print better with JPEG too. And by the way, so if you ever printed stuff, y'all, different printers will print like different files better, and different printers would print certain colors better too. So that's also good to know. But printing is something that I'll probably go over more of like in like later on, but not too much. But yeah, we're not gonna be printing stuff in the class. Oh man, yeah, printing it can be crazy. It's really important to have a good printer, like and not just like not the machine. I mean like a person. Like have someone who can help you out with your art. Like obviously have like a printer at home just to print out certain basic stuff and like test out art stuff, things like that. But also having a good person who knows how to print, like that it's really nice to have. And I can give you all my printing guy's information too if anyone's ever interested in like printing like canvases or like crystal prints or things like that. But other than that, any questions before we move on? Sure. What's up, Michael? Oh, yeah, yeah. Just take pictures of it, clear pictures, make sure they're not blurry, and then just submit, and then you can just submit them in. Scanning's even better. So if you can scan and make it clear, then that would be great. Any other questions? My pleasure, my pleasure. Any other questions? No? Okay, so let me show y'all some mood boards, okay? So I made these mood boards in case like y'all haven't seen like my website, there's like this Remnant 2 like type of thing. I made these before I started the project. So this is how a design board would look like. So for this is everything I wanted, like all the props and like environments that things in the environment that I would want in there. Okay, or the feeling of what I would want in there. So just looking at this, you can already tell that it's like modern Japan. It's foresty, overgrown. It's like, I'm not thinking about the mood too much, okay, for this one, for this board in particular, but at the same time, a little bit of mood can be seen in there, but particularly this is kind of what I want to draw in my scenes, okay? For the next one over here, okay, this is the final look. So what I mean by that is this is how I want my artwork to look like when I draw it. Does that make sense? So you have like, let's just say I have a chair, but then I have another picture of a chair that's in like a different style. Okay, this is the style guide. So this is what I'm trying to follow when I do my artwork for that project. All right, and then last but not least, this is like the overall mood. Okay, so if I am trying to think of like what colors, what tones, what kind of things I want in there, I go for that. So you can kind of see here, I try to look for stuff that was like in Japan too, but for this part, like it's okay if it's not because the goal is to just kind of look and feel how the picture looks like so that I can reference it for later. All right, and then this is also like another like mood board for design. So if you're doing like characters, and stuff, I just put a character one up here for those of you who want to see a character one. But we won't be doing a character for this project, so it's not necessary to do one. But this is just here for reference. So examples of how I kind of expect the final look to be. Okay, now first of all, these are all like samples that you know you they don't have to they're all going to be different styles from y'all, okay? But this is kind of how I want things to look is clean lines, okay? Nice detail, good perspective, and then also graphic lighting. So if we look at this, like it's very simple lighting. I'm not asking for like too many core shadows, reflective lights, things like that. I'm not asking for like blending, okay? If you want to blend, go for it, all right? I'm asking for you to help me determine the design of the lighting using graphic shapes. Okay, so you can kind of see a lot of these are almost just blocked in with one color and they have one shade. And then some of the areas might have like 3 shades, all right? But it's just controlled simple lighting, okay? So there's maybe a total of like 1 to 5 values being used in here. 5 being like the darkest values and 1 being like the lightest values. If we take a look at the other ones, so you see different styles, different amount of different drawings, right? This one's inspired by their room, okay? Which, by the way, is I recommend y'all like if you take photographs, you know, of stuff, you can use those photographs as inspiration. Maybe you really like a composition of your photograph, and then you want to use that composition, but replace all the props so it looks like a witch or a sorcerer was living there. That goes to like witch or sorcery school, right? So or maybe like you take photographs of things that you want to put into a scene, okay? Or maybe you find photographs or you find other paintings with like cool compositions that you want to get. Find inspiration, okay? That's what the mood board is for. Is you want to find inspiration because those inspirations become what you're trying to reference, and those references is what's going to help you kind of come up with this. It's super hard to come up with something without reference. I'm just going to say that right now. Anybody who tells anybody like if you believe that you know in order to become like a good artist you have to draw everything without reference, that's totally fake, okay? Like I know very little people who can draw without reference, and even those people who can draw without reference, they still use reference too. Okay, they just use maybe less references, but they still also use references. All right, so don't be afraid to use reference. Don't be afraid to find inspiration. Go for it. Okay, and my most important tip is to make sure that you're having fun doing this project. Okay, this is a 1 point perspective piece. Okay, so um, you know, no 1 point perspective, all right? But if you can make it look this cool, you probably got like a 90% on it, with the 10 point like penalty. All right, this is a exterior scene, so if you want to do like something exterior, okay? All right, another one, all right? So they range from like being super, super like fantasy and super, super like out of this world to like being more relatable. It's up to you what time frame you want to do. It's up to you like what cultures or what inspirations you want to use. But in the end of the day, it should be a 2 point perspective or a 3 point depending on, what you want to do. But like I said, 3 point, you don't have to do 3 point, okay? I'm honestly looking just for 2 point. All right. So in the end of the day, it should have really nice lighting, simple lighting, but design lighting, and then really nice line work. Okay. Any questions about like the project and things like that? Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. I'll talk about that when I go over the perspective tool. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no worries, no worries. Okay, so how will this be graded? Okay, your concept, okay? So your concept is your design, your story, your originality, all right? That's important, okay? Craftsmanship, okay, is your ability to utilize and apply the media to develop the artwork, okay? So good craftsmanship's important. That's like your technical abilities, all right? Your composition, okay? Your organization of elements, how I look at things, what do I look at first, okay? How do you design these elements? The visual hierarchy. What do I look? That's composition, okay? And professionality, okay? Your ability to follow instructions and executions of specific assignment specifications, okay? So if you don't label things right, that's not professional, okay? If you don't turn in the right project, that's not professional. If I ask for a 2 point, but you turn in a 1 point, that's not professional either because I asked for a 2 point, right? But each of these sections will be a total of 100. Well, each of these are 25 points, and it will total up to 100 points. Okay, and you can find my rubric online. Okay, so when I go to here, okay, you can just click on the rubric. All right, and then you should be able to save it and then see what the rubric is, etc. All right, so you can kind of see what I'm looking for in each section. All right, so over here, like if you do really well on your concept, you'll get a total of 21 to 25 points. Okay, that's getting a 5. If you get like a 4, you'll get anywhere between 16 to 20 points in that section. 3, 11 to 15, and so on. Okay. Any questions about the grading and things like that? Yeah, anything you want. That's an interior. I know it's like COVID times, but if you want to go out and take pictures, that's fine with me. Just do it at your own risk. But yeah, yeah, interior or exterior, but I would say doing an interior is probably safer, just so you can really show perspective. If you're doing an exterior, I expect there to be tons of buildings and things like that. So that's why most of them are interior. Mhm. Yeah. So like if you want to do somewhere in your house, that's fine. If you want to do somewhere, but it should be like creative too. So it's not just like copying what you see, like you're redesigning it. Okay? If you really are like grabbing what you see, like find a way to make it so it looks like it's from a cinematic. Okay? Make it more yeah, make it feel like there's a story, there's a personality to it, something like that. All right? Does that kind of help out? What I mean is like, so to answer your question, Rafa, for story, what I mean is when I look at this room, what can you tell about the person or the characters living in this room? You can tell that this person is really knowledgeable. They're into a lot of there's a lot of like antique stuff. There's like an observatory. It tells you about who they are, their personality. That's how you kind of design a room. Versus like when I look at this, like this looks like a Hollywood Hills type of house. These huge like doors that are also windows. That pool, the design of the backyard. It says something about the people living in this space. So that's kind of what I mean about story is how can you add and over here, if we look at this, what does it say? This person likes to play the violin. They really, really love there's a group of people up there. So I don't know, it could be like a TV show, it could be like a band. There's pictures, okay? These pictures, I don't know if it's artwork or family members, but it shows that these pictures have meaning. They've won stuff. So that's what I kind of mean by a story. Awesome, awesome. Cool. So, uh-huh. Well, these are higher level like drawings, I would say, but I would say in the end of the day, like just try your best. You know, as long as you try your best and you really like the work, like it'll show up to have like this kind of feeling too. Like and then yeah, and I'll also walk through how to do some certain shapes with perspective too. But yeah, some of these are actually like online examples and some of these are student examples. So, there's just different levels going on in this in here. So, yeah, so just like a heads up for everyone. So, don't worry. If you can't draw like this, don't worry. Just try your best. I'll walk through it with you. All right. And also like y'all showing me like your four best pieces kind of gives me an idea of where you are. So it also helps me in grading you also as a grading you all, I mean, as like individuals. Does that kind of help out? Mm, perfect, perfect. Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I would say that's exactly what mood is right there. just like the way you look at it, how it feels. Some things that I would kind of look out for would definitely be like in this situation, like your overall tones. Like, if you see like this one, there's mostly dark tones with like it's mostly like just two tones here, just like a gray and like a white. And then, and that contrast kind of tells us that okay, this room is lit dark, it's kind of mysterious, and there's only like a small amount of light like coming in to kind of like highlight certain areas so that we kind of almost as if like it's always dark in there, and it has this kind of like mysterious vibe to it because of that, because overall like everything's dark except for like these parts that get like a sliver of light, versus like when I see this, like it looks like there's like a sunroof, things are coming in, it's more vibrant. There's more energy, even though it looks like someone's in trouble over here. But they have different lightings, and these different lightings are going to give off different moods. So what I want y'all to kind of like look at when y'all are looking at moods is just kind of look at the overall tone of the values. So, if it's a darker tone, it's probably going to have like certain feelings to it. If it's a lighter tone, it's going to have a certain feeling to it. And the way the lighting works in here, like is it like a sliver of light? Is it like, more of an ambiance? Okay. Those are kind of how I would like determine the moods of the drawings. But again, like I said about like, this project, I know a lot of these are like crazy drawings, but just try your best, okay? I have high expectations, but as long as like y'all try your best, I promise like we'll work through everything together. All right. Mhm. I would say it's just like the feeling in the room. Is it more energetic? Does it feel more calm? You know? And that's just determined by a bunch of things, like the lighting, the values, the line work, the design, the angle of the room. It's a ton of stuff, but like overall I would say energy and mood are pretty similar in terms of like terms. But other than that, suggestions for getting started, start looking for or getting photographic references. Okay, just start looking for them. Okay, start taking photos, things like that. Take images of everything you want. Find everything you want online. Okay, they don't have to be. They can be. You can find copyrighted images for references. Okay, you can use those as references. Just don't copy it like just don't copy it, all right? Use it. Use parts of it that you want. All right? Think about your mood, what you want, your values, your lightings, all that kind of stuff, okay? Think about the designs that you want. What do you want in there? The time period, the culture, the personality, the architecture. What does it look like? All right? Your final look and style, okay? Try to look for that too. Like what should things look like when they're finished? If you want to use these as the finished looks, copy them onto your mood board. You all can totally use these as references too. Don't be afraid to use them. Just make sure to put them on your mood board. And for your mood board, you don't have to design it out like I did here. I know, what is it? We're just getting started, and this is a foundational class. So, so if you want to do a mood board, just like throw it onto like whatever you can for now. If you have to do, just don't put like a bunch of images in one folder. I just want like a bunch of images on a page. So, if you want to do it on Microsoft Word or something, that's fine for this project. But yeah, just make sure to have 3 mood boards with each of those things. And once you collect all your references, just start coming up with sketches and ideas for your scene. Okay, so props, composition studies, things like that. But do we have any questions before we move on with the class? Oh, I see a question on the chat. So where would you recommend looking for references? So I recommend Pinterest because Pinterest is amazing. All right, you can find a whole bunch of stuff on Pinterest. So let's just say I do like a room interior concept sketch. Ooh, it's really slow today. Yeah, look at this. Immediately you can find a bunch of types of rooms right here. Right? If I click on this, boom, I have this room. And the crazy thing is if I go down here, it's going to show me all of the pictures related to this image. So you can see a whole bunch of other kinds of rooms. You all see that, right? So we got like living rooms. Well, because I click like a furniture design, like it's gonna show me mostly like interior design stuff, not like creative. Like no, well, it's still creative. Sorry, wrong choice of words. It's still creative, but it's not like fantasy or whatever, you know. But not saying that it has to be like fantasy. But basically you can get bunch of references on here. You can even get tutorials. Like if you're like perspective tutorial, you know. You can find like a perspective tutorial right here, right? Low horizon on the knees, mid horizon on the chest, high horizon. Actually, that's a really bad place to put a horizon line, like right on top of their heads. Um, but yeah, you can find a bunch of references here. Google Images will have some cool ones too, but I definitely recommend Pinterest over it. Uh, but yeah, this is where I would look for them. Otherwise, like inspiration can be found anywhere in the world. If you want to just like look for it, and go outside, like that works well too. But any other questions before we move on with the class? No? Okay, cool. So right now, oh sure. Uh-huh. Uh, 4 sketches. Is it for the project you're saying? Oh no, no, just one picture, and it's going to be just one final image, and that's only in a 2 point or 3 point, depending on what you want. But I would recommend if y'all never done 2 point before, do 2 point first before doing 3 point, because I guarantee if like you do 3 point as your first like perspective drawing, it's gonna be crazy. Okay, it's gonna be really hard. But this is for like, cause I'm like looking at like some of the stuff people are turning in on the blog. Like if the 3 point is really there for people who want to like push it to 3 point. But the project is a 2 point perspective project at the end of the day. So, oh really? Oh man, it's 1 point. Yeah, I feel like definitely it has its own like thing for sure, but 1 point at the cool at an interesting vantage point can be really cool. Like if you look at 1 point, but instead of looking at a hallway, what if you look from the ceiling down to the floor? That would be like super cool, right? Because then you'll see all the steps and stairs and stuff like that. But mm, That's true. That's true. It's definitely more natural to have like, not everything is going to go to the same vantage point in real life. So it definitely has a more mechanical feel, just like kind of going pure 1 point, kind of like this image here. But anyways, right now it's 9:02. What I want to do is I want to give you all a break since I've been talking for an hour, and then when we come back from the break, we'll get started. I'll start kind of showing you all how like the Sketchbook app works and stuff like that. Okay. So why don't we let's take a 10-minute break today. Uh, well, more like 12 minutes. So why don't we come back at 9:15, and then at 9:15 we'll get started. Yeah. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll be here. But before I come back to answer the questions, I'm actually gonna go run and use the restroom. So I'll be right back. But everyone go ahead and take a break until 9:15. Go get your coffee, go get your snack, things like that. All right, I'm back. So if anyone wants to ask questions during break, feel free to ask. I'll be here. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, that's not a dumb question at all. Mm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mhm. Gotcha. Well, my biggest tip is, and it's not a dumb question at all. Actually, that's a really good question because I think a lot of us in our artistic career have thought about that before, you know. But my best tip is, and this is not just my tip. This is a tip coming from a person I know from Riot and a person I know from Treyarch. They both also agreed with me that the best way to kind of get well to draw what your favorite artists are drawing, the best thing to do honestly is to just do studies of their work, like copy them. Like I hate using the word copy because then like it's just not a it just doesn't sound, you know, it's like a curse word in like art, right? But the truth is like just to copy it, you know, like just copy what they do, try to emulate it as much as they can, and if you have any videos of theirs, like that's also good to know. That's also good to see too. So any YouTube videos that you can find of them doing demos, any Gumroads. So I don't know if y'all ever use a Gumroad, but Gumroad is great. So for example, I really love John Park's work too. John Park does some awesome stuff, and he posts a lot of his stuff on Gumroad. So he'll show y'all how to paint these, the processes to paint them, give y'all the brushes he uses, and goes over them in the video too. And they're cheap. Like they're like $9, $12, $10, and you get to keep them forever. In fact, like they're so cheap that I hate to say it, but they're so cheap that it's easy. It's so you can it's easy to share them with people too. Even though I don't do it though, you know, like if you're gonna share stuff, don't tell people about it. But like, you know, because you know this guy's trying to make money, so, and I totally respect that. So I don't give out any of his stuff when I buy it. But you know, it's that like easy to like get a hold of is what I'm saying. And like he has like tons of like tutorials on here, and I love his stuff, so I try my best to like not emulate his style, but more of his techniques on my end. But in terms of like emulating a style, if I wanted to do that, I would just copy like exactly what he does on there. And the more stuff you copy from the artist that you like, the more you will become like that artist. You'll start learning how to like design shapes like them. You'll start learning how to color like them. You'll start learning how to do everything like them. But that also includes their mistakes, you know. So which is definitely, yeah, concept art books, any kind of art book really. Like I really have I have this art book I love to use by Kazuo Oga. So I'll throw this on the chat for anyone who wants to get it too. But he does like Studio Ghibli like background art, and he does them all in like watercolor and stuff. And I just like love his artwork. And he has some like videos on YouTube also. And you know, since I'm an environment painter, like an environment concept artist and background painter, etc., like I use a lot of the techniques that he uses or try to emulate them so that my work can have like that sort of feel too. And my work doesn't look like his work, but trust me, like there are techniques I took from him that I use too. And I love drawing traditionally and I love drawing digitally and I love translating my traditional into digital. So what I'll do is I'll follow some of his traditional steps but do them digitally instead. So yeah, pretty much what I would recommend is just keep trying to do studies of that person's work and don't be afraid about what's up? Oh man. Well, there's a mhm. Oh man, no worries. I feel like that's like whenever I go on Pinterest. It's like I love this artwork, but there's no name to this artwork. And then when I click the link, it'll bring me to like a page where like someone posted that person's artwork to talk about why they like the artwork, but then there's no name on that. uh, there's a trick that I do, and it sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't. But if you go on Google and then you get like an image, I'm just gonna save an image really quick. Maybe I'll just go back to this images, kind of like this. So let's just say, actually, let me save an art piece. It might be a little bit better. So let's just say I do like this one. I'm just gonna save it, and then what I'll do is where did I save it to? Desktop. Okay. What you can kind of do is you can click and drag the image into Google like this, and then if you drop the image in there, it'll show you like every single image that is similar or like is like from that, and then sometimes you'll find like who like drew the painting that way. If that makes yeah, or if I sometimes what I'll do is like if I click on, well, it depends on where you are too, but like sometimes like that's usually what I'll do if there's no link, but if there is like a link like this, usually like I'll just keep kind of digging in. So I know this is Airplane Graveyard by Gavin O'Donnell. So you got to do a little bit of like celebrity stalking. Cool, perfect. Wow, he has some cool stuff. Wow, his brushwork is so nice. Damn. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it totally. Oh, also good for referencing, I don't know if y'all use ArtStation, but I love ArtStation. Arts. Oh man, I actually I would say even if it's not concept art stuff, they have a lot of cool stuff here that isn't concept too. Like, but I mostly use it for referencing, if I have to be honest. I try not posting. I post on ArtStation, but I don't use that as my primary website. Just because like I have like my own website, and the reason is just because like, and it's just I guess like food for thought for everyone. But what my teacher told me is, because before I didn't have a website and I only did ArtStation, he was like, and he just was brutally honest with me. He was just like, all right, Jesse, why would you post on a website as your main website where people are looking for you, but instead of having your art, it has links to other people's art who's probably better than you. So from what I learned from that is post on ArtStation, but use it more of like as if it was like Instagram or Twitter or something. So it's more of like a social. Yeah. Yeah, just to show off. And then just like Instagram and Twitter, you can also some people will also message you if they see your art on here and like ask you for commissions and stuff. So it's pretty cool. It happens rarely on ArtStation for me personally because there's just so many crazy people out there, and I don't post on ArtStation like that much, but yeah, I would say like it's good for social media and it's great for references. Like man, like I found like a bunch of like I'm following like a bunch of art. Oh, yeah, I'm following like a bunch of artists, but I've had very few follows back, but I've all these people that I can like reference, like Nicholas Kennedy. Wow, dang, those some nice shapes and colors. Oh yeah, totally. Definitely see that inspiration. Wow, so nice. Sure. Yeah, what's up, Craig? Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. My pleasure, my pleasure. And then I'll have everything recorded. And if you need to like catch up with me, like feel free to just make an appointment. I'll be more than happy to like redo everything for you in person. My pleasure. All right, y'all. So it's a 9:15. We're gonna come back to class. Cool. Everything is still recording, so that's perfect. All right. Let's see. Mm. It's tough, but there definitely is. I would say like it is tough and it takes time to find. It took me a while to find out the brushes that I like to use. But in the end of the day, the round brush is always old faithful. The bait, yeah, like you can do everything with the round brush if you wanted to. It's just so versatile. But anyways, so I'm actually gonna start showing y'all Sketchbook Pro. So I mean Sketchbook app. Okay. So for the Sketchbook app, all right, feel free to open it up and follow along the way. I know some of y'all probably don't have a tablet yet, so for some of the parts y'all might have to like, you all might just have to watch instead of like do. But don't worry, all this I'm just gonna kind of go over like the interface first, kind of what it is, how it compares to Photoshop, and then afterwards, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a couple demos with the tools, and I'm also gonna do demos of the assignment for the homework that I've assigned, the 1 point perspective packet, and that's where I'll kind of go over 1 point perspective, 2 point perspective, things like that. All right. So really quickly, okay. So when you open up Sketchbook, it's going to first ask you, would you like to save things in A, B, C, D files? Okay. It'll say like TIFF, JPEG. How do you want to save it? All right. My recommendation is save it as TIFF for Sketchbook, okay, or PSD if you want to like if you use Photoshop too. But if you aren't using Photoshop at the moment, it's okay to just save it as a TIFF. Sorry, excuse me, I just like burp. um, so Oh, perfect, perfect. Glad to have you back. So, so after it asks you what you want to save it as, just press OK, all right, and then it should kind of bring you into a page like this, okay? So this is our basic interface, all right? So in here, there are a couple things I want to point out, all right? We have our toolbar on top. We have two little pucks over here, okay? Kind of like hockey pucks, all right? And then on top of that, all right, we have our toolbar on the left side, okay, which you can extend out like that. And then we have what's called the lagoon, okay? So this is our lagoon over here. All right, and the lagoon is very similar. Oops, is very similar to like the toolbar, except it's like kind of like it has some shortcuts to it. All right, so I'll kind of just go over like how each of these work, like kind of the interface of like Sketchbook, things like that, and then like I said, I'll kind of compare it to Photoshop. So over here, you can click your pencil tool, you can get your pencil over here. You can click your marker tool, you can get your marker over here, and it works like a marker. See, if I color over it like more and more times, it's getting darker. Okay, so there's different tools that you can kind of play around with, all right? And then for your color, you can pick your color with this over here. So this is your color puck. Okay, so for your color puck, there we go. For your color puck, all right, whatever colors you choose from there, it should like, you'll have like this like ring over here, which is going to be your chroma. So your chroma basically just means like the range of colors. So a yellow chroma, a red chroma, a purplish chroma, and then you can have your values, your saturations, the intensity, all that kind of stuff. Like, you can do that in the middle, okay? You also have like your eyedropper tool. So if you want to pick a color, you can click the eyedropper tool. Okay, go and then pick the color that you want, and it will turn into that puck. That puck will turn into that color for you. I mean, sorry. All right, and then over here we have. So for this puck, okay, I'll kind of go over that in a bit. But this puck is basically for sizing. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is you can change the size of your brush with your brackets, okay, the brackets on top of the enter button. And you'll see on the bottom over here the size as it goes up. If I press the right bracket, it makes it bigger. If I press the left bracket, it makes it smaller. So I just realized this is airbrush, not marker. But yeah, you can kind of see over here, right? We can change the size that way, or we can use the puck, okay? And to do that, you're going to hold to the right, click and hold to the right to make it bigger, and click and hold to the left to make it smaller. So I personally like having my pucks to the right because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, it might be better to have it on the left-hand side. All right, and this makes it so that I can easily just like go bigger or smaller whenever I want, or if I want to choose whatever colors over here. I can kind of choose whatever colors I want. All right. So those are kind of how the pucks work. Now for our tools over here, like I was saying, we have a bunch of different ones. Okay, so we have like blur over here. We have like eraser, right? We can erase all this other soft eraser, etc. Okay, so there's tons and tons of stuff that we can kind of like use for our tools. But if we want to change our tool settings, we can go over here. Okay, there's like a little settings bar. All right, and the little settings bar, okay, we can change how we want our pen and stuff to work. All right, so over here, these are set. Also, what's kind of good to know is you can always reset your tools. Okay, so for example, if I like mess up everything or whatever, and I want to go back to normal, just press reset, press OK, and then boom, it's back to normal. All right. Something else about the size puck that I wanted to mention is now that you all kind of see this is like, so over here we can also adjust our size and we can also adjust our flow. So how much flow we want inside of the tool that we're using. Okay. And over here we should have, oh, what the heck? Where is it? Oh, maybe it doesn't have it for this tool. But yeah, you'll see in some of the other tools over here, they'll have like a little advanced section. And then for the advanced section, all right, you can have some other stuff. So if you want like size with heavy pressure, so when I press heavy, it's going to be this big. When I press light, it's going to be that small. And then I'll be able to control that by pressing hard or lighter. Does that make sense? Any questions so far about like the tools and the pucks? No? We're all good? Okay. Perfect, perfect. So again, if you want to reset it, you could do that. There's different like settings for every tool, so make sure to like check it. The amount of smear you want for the smear tool, sharpen if you want to sharpen things, etc. All right. So that's kind of how it works. All right. Over here in our toolbar, we'll have our brush library. So this gives us like a bunch of different other kinds of brushes that we can use. All right. And then for now, just super quickly. Yes, there is, and that's Alt. So if you hold Alt, you can click, and then you can click wherever you want, and then it will also use the eyedropper tool for you. Um, so over here you have different brushes, okay, in your brush library. All right. So if I wanted like right now I have like a splatter brush on, you all see that, right? If I wanted to change it to like smooth Conte, right, I can get kind of like this charcoaly, pencil, graphite-y sort of feel, etc. And then what's really, really, really cool is you can actually download more brushes too. And I think you can actually do it on here, but I'll just be a little bit honest. I can't remember how to do it on here at the moment, but there is a way to do it. All you got to do is, I got to find it in a bit, but if you can't download it on here, you can download it online. All right, there's other brushes and stuff too, but you can get a bunch of really cool sort of brushes just kind of doing that. All right. Let's see, let's see. So other than that, let's go over kind of the lagoon on the bottom, okay? So the lagoon is very interesting. You'll have like a bunch of tools over here. So if you want like a ruler, you can set a ruler, and then you can set like the angle of your ruler, and then it will draw along that line. So kind of like that. Y'all see that, right? Just kind of like this, okay? There's other types of rulers. There's like protractors, French curves, things like that. Okay, over here we have our brush tool. So if you click and hold, you can like this is just kind of like the quick way of kind of like choosing stuff that you want. All right, so if you click and hold, you can switch to airbrush that way. If you click and hold, you can switch to paintbrush, to hard eraser, etc., etc. All right, over here we have our color, like quick colors, okay, and you can like change these quick colors, I believe. All right, but if you want to open the color editor, you can click this little dot here, and it will open up a color editor, and it will give you kind of a more, it'll give you a bigger window to just kind of like work things with. Different options, more red, more green, more blues, etc. So super, super cool. It'll tell you like what kind of like, it'll tell you what kind of tool you were using there just a moment ago. Use the eyedropper there, tool, too, things like that. Oh, sorry. Things like that. Okay, you can change your channels, all right? If you want HSL, all right, hue, saturation, lightness, okay? You could do that all over here, All right, so a lot of cool stuff that you can do and check out kind of at the lagoon. All right. And then what we're going to do now is I'm going to kind of show you how to move around the picture. Okay. So any questions about the lagoon or any questions about the color editor? Let me check the chat really quick. What brushes work on? I don't know about the Photoshop brushes working on Sketchbook Pro, Melly, but you might that might be kind of good to look into. From what I have experienced so far is they may be different things, but as long as they are ABR files, then if they're both ABR files, then it should work. But I know Photoshop files are ABR. I don't know what these ones are, to be honest with you. But there is a way to like kind of download it through this interface. I apologize. I have to kind of look that up again because like I actually can't remember how to like download it through this interface over here. But to be honest, I don't think they'll work, but you can try and check. I know like Photoshop and Procreate 5, you can do that though. So for those of y'all who use Procreate for, on a regular basis, like I know that works, but I don't know about Sketchbook and Photoshop. I apologize for that. Um, Let's see. Well, as long as you have the same tools, Maria, that'll be great. That's good. Other than that, let's see. Let's see. So some other stuff. So if I hold spacebar, it'll give me this kind of toolbar over here. Okay. So a couple things. If I click the outer ring and hold, I can move my picture around. And it's just like sliding a piece of paper. That's kind of how it works. All right. If I click and hold and I go to this little magnifying glass, I can go closer and further. All right. And this other one is rotate canvas. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, yeah. Rotate canvas. There we go. And it will kind of lock into place. All right. So that's a really nice tool to have over here. Let's see. Let's turn on the layers. So other than that, we have like some tools up here too. Okay, I'll kind of go over these tools in a bit though. So just like keep them in mind. But we do have like the undo button, the redo button. If you don't want to hold spacebar, there's always this up here you can also use. We have some selection tools, which I'll kind of go over in a bit. The crop tool, okay, which like you can just whatever you want to crop, press enter, it'll crop. All right. More quick selection tools for like moving, transform tools, like you can transform stuff. So this is like the distort if I want to transform uniformly and make things scaling. All right. If I want to confirm it, press check. Paintbrush, different kinds of like fills. Paint bucket. These are fills. So if I click stuff, they'll fill it in just like MS Paint. If any of y'all done it. Oh, that looks kind of cool actually. uh, Gradients, okay. You can set gradients over here. You can set the colors of your gradients by just double clicking these and clicking what you want in each of these sections, things like that. A text editor, so if I type in like a text, press OK, it'll appear on there. There should be like certain settings to them too that you can like adjust up here. So you can see my text really, really tiny over here. And it'll also be on a separate layer. I'll show you how to turn on layers in a bit. And then also we have like our rulers over here, which I kind of just showed you all how to do. If I was doing a protractor, then it would only be going in a circle, as you all can kind of see. I'm doing it in orange. There we go. All right. French curves. All right. The perspective tool, which I'm going to go over today, and then symmetry. Okay. And symmetry is really cool because like you can set your symmetry and draw stuff, and you can set a symmetrical line. You can change it up a bit. So if I want the symmetry to like be at this line over here, just turn this off. I get red. It'll start drawing and making symmetrical calculations based off of this middle line. And there are different types of symmetries that you can do too. So if you want like a horizontal symmetry, vertical symmetry, radial symmetry, if you want to do like, I don't know, some sort of like cool, oh man, I forgot what they're called. Those like circular, like ornate designs. I can't remember though. But yeah, mandala. If you want to do like a mandala, thank you. Yeah, some super cool tools over here. All right. These ones I actually never use, so I actually don't know what these do. Just to be honest with y'all. But other than that, yeah, these ones I don't use too often. But I guess these are shortcuts here. So you can kind of see like some of these other, so like tools. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't press these ones too much, but this is kind of like helpful to have. So layers, tools, brushes. And I guess this is a Copic library, so if you like doing like Copic styled artwork, they do have all the colors on here that you can do. So if you so you guys don't know so in case y'all don't know, Copic markers are types of markers that you can get that are known to be incredibly expensive, but they are known to be like the best markers out there. So a lot of artwork that you'll see doing and done in Copic will kind of look like this. All right, the One Piece guy does a lot of his illustrations in Copic. No, I actually never heard of those before, but I'll definitely look into it. Oh, really? How so? Hmm. Oh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, that's crazy. I definitely got to check that out. Chameleon, you said? All right, gotcha, gotcha. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I'll definitely check that out. That sounds super interesting. All right. So, what's up? Uh, there is a way to do it. You can like set them over here. Kind of like that. So whatever colors you choose, you can just kind of click and drag them. Kind of like that. But personally, for me, I like to just kind of move around. I usually like just move around like this, and I have like a certain way I swatch my stuff. But then like yeah, if you all do want to take advantage of the color editor, y'all can just kind of go like this. Any other questions before I move on? No? Okay. Other things to know, your windows. So like if you wanted to like click in what's up? Ooh, so your program might have crashed. So for those of y'all who run into this issue, something that I would check up on is if you do you have a Photoshop downloaded already? Okay. If Photoshop works perfectly, I was gonna say it may be like a processor or graphics driver issue, where like you might need a stronger computer. But if your Photoshop works perfectly, then that might not be the issue then. What I would recommend you all to do is if your computer works perfect with Photoshop, it should work with this. And then what I mean perfect is not just opening it, but also drawing in Photoshop and making sure stuff doesn't crash. Uh, but what I would do is what is it? Control Alt Delete, and then just like end your process, and then try reopening it again. But yeah, you were gonna say something? Uh-huh. 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 Gotcha. Okay. Let me check out your situation after class. It sounds like a program troubleshooting thing. Actually haven't ran into that issue before, so that's kind of new for me. But yeah, if you want to stay a little bit after class, I'll be more than happy to like have you share your screen, and then that way I can maybe like look and see what's going on. Yeah. Would that be okay? Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, just so we get just so I just want to make sure we get all the stuff covered in class. But we'll have lab time too. If I when I finish doing all this stuff, and I can check that out during that time too. Um, let's see. But kind of back to this. But yeah, what I would do first, Camden, is maybe try like if you I would say even like re I wouldn't maybe not now, but like if you want to try restarting your computer, that might work. Or just like and you did it twice. Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out after then. Yeah, give me a moment. I'll look into it. Yeah, I've never ran into that issue before. But back to like kind of this. So these are your windows. Whatever you have on and off, that's going to be showing on your interface. Okay. So if you ever, want to default everything back to the same layout you got when it opened, click default layout. Okay, and it'll go back to the same layout. You all see that, right? So everything is back the way it's supposed to be. Also, I just found out. So you're going to click Sketchbook Extras to download brushes. So let's just say I like, so if you go to Windows and Sketchbook Extras, let's just say I like clouds. I'm going to click that button. Is downloading clouds, and it should appear in my brush set when I click this afterwards. So once that's done, we'll be able to see what that looks like, and then maybe we'll be able to make some super cool clouds. So let's see. It's almost there. Yeah, Sketchbook's Extras. Cool. So oh, look at that. And then look, now we have like some cloudy texture. Y'all see that, right? So you can get some super cool brushes that way. So that's kind of how you can get some brushes downloaded. There's tons of them on here. As you scroll down, more will appear. And I also recommend going online to look for some if you don't see any of them on here. I think these ones are the ones they give on the website too. But I'm sure if y'all look at Google close enough, there'll be like other people who make like their own custom brushes too. But other than that, let's see. So images, okay. Everything over here I've kind of showed you already as tools, okay. So we have, you can rotate your image if you want. Here, let me do that again. If you want to do like clockwise, if you want to do like counterclockwise, etc. So you can do that over there. What's kind of nice about this image tab though is other than like all these other things that you have over here like symmetry, mirroring, and things like that, you can also have some photo editing stuff. So for example, if I go to hue and saturation, okay, just like in Photoshop, I can change the hue and saturation of whatever I'm drawing. And you can preview it. Okay, you can show everything or just a section of it. You can apply it and then go again, start doing stuff again after. You all see that, right? So tons of cool stuff in image to play around with. Edit, typical stuff, redo, undo, clear, copy, paste, cut, etc. Stylus responsiveness. This is like if your stylus is not responsive, you can like change that. I put mine on more because I like it. I like it with more sensitivity, but if you want less sensitive, you can like set it to less. All right. And other than that, file is your typical stuff. So you can go to new and make a new file. You can make a new flipbook too. So if you want to do animations, but we're not doing that in this class. So, and I also don't know how to use flipbook, so so I'm not the best person to ask for flipbook. And then you can add an image to the scene. You can like page setup, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so there's all this stuff that you can do up here too. But that kind of is the basic interface of how Sketchbook Pro Sketchbook app works. Okay. Any questions on the interface and like the tool? What's up? Oh, sure. Yeah. You're going to Windows and you're going to go to Sketchbook Extras. And then all you got to do is click on the ones you want to download. That little arrow with like that box thing. Yeah, and it's super simple. And before we continue on what is it? The perspective tutorial and stuff. I just kind of want to go over like what is it? What the difference is between like this and Photoshop. So I use Photoshop a lot more. I don't use Sketchbook Pro. I don't use Sketchbook app that much. I like to keep everything on Photoshop, but there are some really cool tools on here. I feel like this is better if you want to do like quick sketches or if you have like quick ideas. You can obviously do some really, really nice renderings over here, but this is definitely like simplified. This program's definitely simplified more for like drawing and sketching. All right. Whereas like in Photoshop, Photoshop is a huge package. Okay. We won't jump into it today. We'll jump into it later in the semester, like I said. But in terms of Photoshop, sorry, I'm gonna mute everyone really quick. There's like a really loud noise coming from someone. Um, but for Photoshop, it usually is there's like you can animate in Photoshop too, but you can also do like 3D texturing, 3D modeling, heavy photo editing, things like that. So Photoshop is kind of like the industrial tier program to use for a lot of stuff. All right, so you can do everything Sketchbook Pro does and more. Okay, but the only thing that it can't do is probably the perspective tool stuff. Okay, so in Photoshop, a lot of times when I draw, because the program for Photoshop, it's designed for drawing, but not designed exactly for drawing, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is there's a tons of way to do stuff, and they do keep that in mind. But like over here in this program, it's been simplified to kind of give us like very traditional tools. It emulates traditional artwork a little bit more than Photoshop does. Whereas Photoshop is a lot more digital. Like there's tons more tricks in Photoshop that I can show y'all than tricks in Sketchbook. And that's why, like, for me personally, I know Sketchbook only enough to do drawings and sketches and maybe some shading. And if I want to render it out, I could, but honestly, it's going to take a lot of time. So, but so that's kind of the difference between those two. Okay, so something that I want to do is let's see. So I have my layers. Okay, so something I want you all to always have on is your layer editor. Okay, and again, if you don't have it, you can also click on this thing up here, the three little pages with like the folded corners. All right, and in your layers, you can add new layers. You can delete new layers by clicking on the layer that you want. Oh, you can also click and hold too. There's all these things. You can lock layer, add layer, delete layer, rename layer, merge layers, merge all layers, merge below. All right, hide your layers. All right. You can also get all these options over here too. Okay. When you're adding a new group, okay, a group is pretty much like like a folder that you want to put all your layers in. So everything in that group, all right, is going to if I like turn off this group, for example. So if I have this on, I have this on, but then they're all under this group. Come on, there we go. They're all kind of like under this group. Sorry, I'm trying to like put it in the group. Oh, there we go. But I turn off the group, it's going to turn off everything in that group. So it's a really good way to kind of organize stuff. So sometimes I'll do like foreground layer, midground layer, background layer, and just kind of like and work inside of foreground group, midground group, background group. And then inside of those groups, they'll have layers pertaining to that, okay? In case you don't know how layers work, you can think of them like invisible pieces of paper, okay? If I make a new layer and I make another one on top of it and I draw on the layer on top, it won't affect anything on the bottom. This is on one layer, this is on another layer, and then I have the background, which is still a white piece of paper. All right, and there are tons of stuff to take advantage of layers. So if I wanted to do like line art first, for example, let me turn off my symmetry. There we go. So let's just say I want to do like line art, So if I draw like, like a head, right? And then for the second layer, I'll make a new layer. I'm gonna put it under the head, okay? And I want to just start doing some shading. All right. Then what I can do, right? Start kind of setting in. Let's make this bigger. Right, I can start kind of setting in a tone. Okay, maybe this is like my base tone, right? And then maybe I want to start adding some other values in there, right? I can make a new layer, right? I'm just kind of doing this super fast. So I apologize if it's kind of rough. Just going to reset this. Yeah, what I can start doing is I guess, start adding some lights. That kind of makes sense. So taking advantage of these layers over here, I can really start thinking about what I want to draw, what I want to paint, how I want to take it, how I want to organize things. I don't want my line art layer to be on the same as my coloring or shading layer. So that way, if I do mess up and I want to erase, by the way, I use Photoshop a lot, y'all, so sometimes I might press the wrong key. Like I just pressed E for eraser. So just bear with me if I do that. But yeah, if I want to, let's just say I messed up on the face, if I wanted to like adjust it a little bit, good thing this is on a different layer. Maybe I want to like blend it in a little bit more with my soft eraser. Y'all see that, right? So that's kind of how layers work, okay? And it's really, really great because it helps us become cleaner. Okay, and I also recommend like labeling layers to be like organized. Even though like I'm as guilty as charged, I'm like the worst labeler in the world in terms of like layers. Like my layers are always like 100 layers or everything's on one layer. So it just really depends. But that's kind of how layers work. So, do we have any questions about layers before I start kind of moving on to like perspective and things like that? No? Then I just want to double check. Everyone can hear me, right? Still? Let's see. What the? Hello? Can you all hear me? Hello? Oh man. I oh man, I think my network just like cut off for a second. Did you all manage to hear the stuff about the layers by any chance? Oh, darn it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but like I just checked like my go-to meeting and it was like reestablishing service. I was like, "Oh my gosh. Man, remote teaching, right?" I just upgraded my internet too. I went from like a like a pathetic internet like speed to like a gigabyte service or it's like a it's called a gigabyte service, but it's like a ter like a like it's like close to Google Fiber. So yeah, I apologize for that. Basically, what I was saying is having your stuff on different layers is really helpful because you can start kind of organizing what you want. Like maybe this is the block-in layer, maybe this is the line art layer. So you have line art, base color, light, and then you can start adding lights, and then you can have a shadow layer, and then you can put all those into a group, and maybe that's like the head layer, the head group. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, okay, cool, cool. Yeah, if anybody is like confused on that, let me know. I apologize for the lag, like the computer lag. Yeah, there's probably gonna be some of that coming up this semester too. But yeah, kind of like it's saying in the chat. Let's see. Oh, the Wi-Fi card. I'll definitely check that up out. I actually don't know what a Wi-Fi card is, but I'll definitely check that out. Um, oh, I know what you're talking about. It's the thing that helps your computer connect to Wi-Fi, right? Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely update that driver. It's actually been a while since I've update that driver, so that might be a issue too. Sure. Is it possible to do that here? Is that what you're asking? Uh-huh. Oh yeah. You could definitely do that. Let's just say I want to do this. So I go to File, okay, and I go to Add Image, okay, and then I pick the image that I want to add. So I already double click this one, and then it puts it in my group first, but I'm just gonna move it out of my group. Boom. And then you have it here. All right. And something I want to show y'all while we're doing this is if you hit, so if you have your layer selected, if you have stuff selected, kind of like this, okay? So for your selection tools, these are going to be really useful because you can make selections over here. So let's just say like I wanted to like blow this part over here bigger. All right. So what I can kind of do is you can use your selection tools. Okay, and you can also, and then you can actually move these around. Oh, there we go. So you can actually move these around if you hold V. So this is for everyone. So once you kind of make a selection, or if you don't select anything, you can actually move the whole picture around, scale it, things like that. You'll see that, right? But you have to hold V. V for Victoria. All right, and you should get a little puck like this. Oh, I'm gone again? Can you all see me? Did I just lag out again? Oh, man. So basically, if you hold V for Victor. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, cool. So you all got that, right? Perfect. So yeah, and there's other selections too. So if you have like a lasso selection, you know, you can like click and hold, select what you want, hold V, move that around. You can also, with your selection, what that's also good for is if I want to color in a spot, it won't let me go out of there too. And I'll kind of show you all how to use this tool a lot later. But to answer your question about the tracing, yes, it is possible. All you would have to do is just something like this. You can click this little number, lower the opacity. Also, to deselect your selection, y'all, you can just press Control D for deselect. Lower your opacity with the number up here. Make a new layer, and then just start trace. Yeah, perfect, perfect. So yeah, that's kind of how I would do it. But any other questions before we move forward to kind of learning about perspective? That's a good question. So so for this, it's a little different. If you hold Shift, you can make lines straight vertically and horizontally. But for diagonal lines, you have to use the ruler. So if I like adjust this line like this, then I can make that straight line. It's on the top over here. So R for ruler, and then all you gotta do, and it's the same for the protractor. That's how you make circles, or the French curve if you have like some really interesting curve you wanna do. I know, right? They this is like they need this. They need this. Yeah, yes. Uh-huh. So, oh, what? That's cool. All right. Thank you so much, Craig. Oh, awesome. Yeah, so I guess y'all can use this tool too. Actually, I had no idea about this tool. So yeah, this is a really cool tool. I guess y'all can use this to help to make some super cool line work. If you want to do straight lines, squares, circles, etc., things like that. But yeah, I do agree. Photoshop does need, well, Photoshop has something similar to this tool, but not like the ruler or the protractor and stuff. But, but yeah, thank you so much, Craig. Uh-huh. It's more of a school requirement thing for Photoshop. Like so like at Fullerton College, like and then like so just like I guess Yeah, if Fullerton College is more of like a school thing. So we teach like industrial like tools, and there is kind of a high learning curve, and I think there will be a prerequisite for this class soon. I know I said like last meeting like there's no prerequisite, but I think they are going to put a prerequisite for this class soon where y'all must take the Photoshop class before you take this class. So this might be like one of the last few classes that are coming in before taking that DART 101 class. But hello? 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 Can you all hear me? All right, perfect. I just like switched over to like a different internet mode. Is that a lot more clear, everybody? Yeah, okay. So someone was saying something earlier. Could they say that again? Mhm. Um, Usually Photoshop is an industry standard, but if I want, so it is important to learn Photoshop, but at the end of the day, to be honest, as long as you can make cool art and you can dish it out and give it to them in the format that they want it in, so the file size and stuff, it doesn't really matter. Like I know tons of people who what they'll do is they'll draw in Procreate, export it into Photoshop, do a couple things, and just save it as a Photoshop image you know. So straight up, like if I have to be honest to y'all, it doesn't matter which program y'all use, it doesn't matter what you do, just make cool stuff and make sure that you're able to give them what they want. So and every single drawing application should be able to save like, your image and like the file that it should be for industry standards. So, this can even though this isn't a Photoshop thing, like this isn't a Photoshop program, like you could save it as a Photoshop file if you wanted so that you can export your file from here and like import it into Photoshop really easily. Mm. So yeah, it is an industry. I do recommend learning Photoshop, but if you do prefer using Procreate and stuff like that for your own personal work, like don't ever stop using it because like you will it will come in handy. I guarantee it. It will come in handy. But it is really good to know Photoshop because like just in case you go into a company that doesn't allow it or they require you to do a bunch of things in Photoshop you can't do in other programs, that's where Photoshop is going to be coming in handy because there's so many things you can go learn in Photoshop. It's so organic to the point that the learning curve is so high. Not because it's hard to use to be honest, but because there's so many buttons you don't know what to do from the start. You know, uh, for the first project, you're going to be using Sketchbook Pro. You're going to be using Sketchbook app, but you can't. But here's what I'll let y'all do is if you have to do part of it in Sketchbook, but if you want to finish it off in a different app of your choice that's easier for you, you're welcome to do that. And I'll show you why you want to do it in Sketchbook first. Okay, but um, but other than that, any other questions? Okay, for sure. All right. In that case, then here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all a quick perspective tutorial. Okay. I'll kind of go over a little bit of the homework too in the meanwhile. So for the first homework, okay, I want you all to use Sketchbook Pro, okay, and sketch out at least 5 of these props. Okay, so just draw them, okay, get a hang of how Sketchbook Pro works, okay, or Sketchbook apps, not Pro, sorry. Just get a hang of how it works. Okay, so when you're drawing this, you can use your layers, you can make like a sketch layer, you can make a new layer for inking in. I'll kind of show you all how to do that in a bit too, if you all need a demo. Okay, but draw and look. Try not to trace. If for those of y'all like, to be honest, like I'm not gonna be able to tell if you trace it or not probably for this, unless like it's like dead on the same thing. But this is just for everyone's own improvement. So like if like for yourselves, like try not to trace because like you want to learn how to like draw things from observation. All right, and just try your best, okay? I want to know that you tried your best. I want to see that you used the sketchbook app to like draw. I just want like some small sketches. All right, so I'll show you all how to do that in a bit. Okay, for now, I'm going to talk about this. Okay, so this is 1 point perspective. Okay, so let's talk about 1 point perspective. So feel free to open up this file. I sent it to all of y'all in email. By the way, I'll send an email almost every session, but definitely once a week on what you need to use and what you need to download for class and your homework and all that stuff. But this is called a 1 point perspective, okay, because we have 1 point that everything is converging into. All right, so that's what 1 point perspective means. But how do we see 1 point perspective? Okay, so I'm not going to use this. I don't want to use the tool for now. Actually, let me just make a new file. Right, there we go. So but for 1 point perspective, all right, here's what you're going to do. Okay, so it's called 1 point because there's 1 point converging. Sorry, just want to turn this off. Okay, because there's 1 point that everything is converging into. All right, so that 1 point over here, okay, is going to lie on our horizon line, okay? So we all know what a horizon line is, right? Anybody want to tell us what it is? Uh, well, it is your eye. It can be your eye level, and there is a vanishing point on there. But a horizon line is basically where the sky and the land meet, okay? Not counting mountains that cover it. It's like if there's a flat piece of land or ground at ground level, okay, at sea level, okay, where the sky and the land meet, okay? And inside of a perspective drawing, we're also going to have vantage points, okay? But what's good to know is you're going to have a horizon line, okay? And then you're going to have this vanishing point. And the vanishing point is basically where things start to vanish, all right? So for example, if I have like railroad tracks, okay? All right, if I have railroad tracks, it's all going to start vanishing at that point. Does that make sense? All right. So how do we do a 1 point perspective? Okay, so first of all, you need to establish a horizon line and you need to establish a vanishing point. And it doesn't matter where your vanishing point is, but it does kind of tell us like, you know, where things are going to be converging to, et cetera, et cetera. All right. But in order to draw things in perspective, we have to think about it as boxes first. Okay. So what I mean by that, okay, is if everything starts to converge at 1 point, all right, we have to start establishing that first. So if I draw a box up here, okay, I'm actually going to use, actually, you know what? Never mind. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll use that tool. Let's make it faster. All right. So all these are going to converge at that vanishing point. All right. And if I have, let's just say I have a floating building. Okay. I'll have a building like this. All right. So I'm going to close it off here. Okay. And the way that you can kind of think about it is that behind the box, it kind of looks like this. This line also is converging to this point, but we just don't see it. All right. And that's pretty much how a box floating in that space is going to be in 1 point perspective. All right. So if I do it on the other side, it's the exact same thing, no matter what size the box it is. Y'all see that, right? And these lines over here are always going to be parallel. These lines are going to be parallel, all right? Because these are the same face, okay? If I had like a window on here, right? This window would be in perspective that way. Does that kind of make sense so far? Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And anything above the horizon line, we can see the bottom side of it. Okay, so anything above this horizon line, we can see the bottom side of it. So if I have like, my airbrush, oh, I forgot I'm on this tool, right? If I have my airbrush, right, and if I want to add some lighting, right, shadow would be here, and shadow would be here, okay? And anything under the horizon line, we can see the top of, okay? So if I go back to this tool, let's go back here, all right, oops. All right, so let's just say I draw a box over here, right? Anything under the horizon line, I can see the top of, even if it's like that, okay? And there we go, kind of like that. Ooh, I pressed E for eraser again. I keep forgetting that's not eraser. If I erase these over here, oops. So you can kind of see this box is in perspective now, all right? And let's talk about things that go in this. If this is our horizon line right here, and then we have like, if we have like a y-axis over here, all right, anything on the right-hand side, we should be able to see the left side of. Anything on the left-hand side that we put, we should see the right side of, okay? And if it's in the middle, we can't see any of it, all right? We can't see left or right, but if it's above the horizon line, we should be able to see the top of it, the bottom of it over here, all right? And then vice versa. Yeah, yeah. So the y-axis is invisible, but everything converges at that vanishing point. So like whatever is on the left side of the vanishing point, we'll be able to see the right side of. So if you have a building on the left, we'll be able to see the right side of the building, which is colored in blue. And then over here, if it's on the right side, we should be able to see the left. And it's vice versa on the bottom too. The only difference you have to think about is, if it's on the top, we can see the bottom. If it's on the bottom, we can see the top. If it's on the right, we can see the left. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Anybody have questions so far? It looks good? Perfect. So this same goes for windows, okay, doors. If I have a door in the front though, obviously it's just going to be like flat too, because like, we're not going to be, unless like we have like a little bit of depth over here, right? Then like I'll have to consider like, this little corner over here going towards the vanishing point. Now, some good things to also think about is anything that lands on the vanishing point is going to be flat. Okay, so what I mean by that is if I have like, let me use a different color, like purple or pink, I guess, pinkish purple. If I have like this, if the top of my box lands on my horizon line like that, okay, what that means is that I won't be able to see the top of it, but I would still be able to see the side of it. So if I trace in my box, so this is where I'll make a new layer so I can trace on a new layer. My box would actually look like this because it lands right on that vanishing point. And if I turn off my layers, you can see that's what it would look like. All right. Any questions about that part? And the same goes for this too. If I have like a box right here, right? It would kind of be like that. Okay. So we can kind of see how perspective is starting to work. All right. And back to kind of like this flatness thing, anything that goes under or above the horizon line, it's going to start becoming, those areas like over here are going to start becoming less flat, okay? So what I mean by that is you can kind of see like, because like, so, okay, so here's the best example I like to do, is if I put a penny on the horizon line, it's going to look like this, all right? And then the higher up the penny goes, the more we'll be able to see that penny as a circular shape until like until like finally when it's like above our heads, it's going to be like a circle. Does that make sense? But if I do it the opposite way, it'll be the exact opposite. So the lower it goes on the horizon line, the more circular it's going to go to. And the same goes for boxes, okay? So we're going to be able to see more of that bottom side as the box moves up. And then things are going to get like, the top side we're not even going to see, but like these should get narrower and narrower too. Like these lines will get narrower and narrower as it goes top because it's going to start to converge, okay, a little more heavily. But that's kind of how vantage point works in perspective too. Any questions on like the penny thing or like vantage points of like seeing the bottom of things, top of things, or one point perspective in general? Oh yeah, I'll do that in a bit. I actually don't plan to do that until next week though. I'll send you guys a packet for next week, but I'll kind of show y'all a quick like demo of like how 2 point perspective will work too. But before I move on to that, perspective works for everything. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn these off. You know what? Actually, let me save this. Let me save this so I can give it to y'all. Uh. Okay, for sure. No worries. Yeah. In that case, okay. So back to this. So let's just say I'm doing trees in 1 point perspective. Okay. So if I'm doing like, really, really basic, like, so let's just say I establish like how big I want my trees to be and where they converge at. Oh, no wonder it's invisible. That's why I can draw anything. There we go. Okay, so let's just say I want to use these green lines over here to help me out with my trees. Okay, so I want railroads along this tree, right? So in that case, okay, the trees are going to diminish with size as they go further out. Okay, so if I draw a tree right here, okay, what I also have to consider is that these things are going to get smaller and they're going to converge as they get smaller. Now, obviously, trees naturally aren't going to be designed to be all, designed to like, look exactly the same unless like, you have like somebody doing that for you. But I'm going to make another line over here converging. And by the way, these lines are called orthogonal lines, in case anyone was wondering. Also, just a heads up, my spelling is terrible. So, but I know the universal language, which is art. And then basically these are going to get smaller as they go in also. Does that make sense? They should also get a little closer as they go in, kind of like that. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how 1 point perspective works. Okay, and it really helps us out to understand this because it shows how it pretty much like shows it's how depth works. Okay, if you're doing a hallway, buildings, things like that. Now the thing about 1 point perspective that was mentioned before by I think John was saying how buildings usually twist and turn. In real life, you will see that. So we actually see 1 point perspective very, very little in real life. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good perspective to use. 1 point perspective is best for design when you want to do something direct. That's why like when you see a lot of throne rooms in like movies and stuff, they'll use 1 point perspective to really converge your point on where like royalty is sitting so that it makes it feel like we're directly coming into like something of like, great power, or it makes us feel like more high up, intimidating. It's more straightforward, so it's used a lot for that situation. All right. So that being said, that's kind of how 1 point perspective works. Um, so for this over here, what I would like you to do is I would like you all to redraw all these boxes. All right. And I want y'all to also do these in 1 point perspective. I'll kind of show you how to do some of these over here too. All right. But basically for this page, we're going to be doing that. Okay. Any questions on like 1 point perspective or things like that before we move on? No? Okay, cool, cool, cool. So, We got about 15 minutes left. All right. I'm gonna do a couple demos of these too over here, and then man, this is kind of embarrassing, but did I mention that I was gonna show you guys something before I mentioned this? I kind of like blanked out while explaining. If not, that's okay. I have other stuff planned, but I just have like tons of stuff in my mind, so sometimes I might like run by something super, super quick. But before I get started, kind of like showing y'all, yeah, that's pretty much how perspective would work for y'all, you know. So if y'all are like kind of doing buildings, oh, it was the tree thing, I think. I think it was a tree thing, so I did show y'all. So you know, if I was doing a building, right? Let's just say I want to use this part as like part of the building too. This would converge into this point like that. This will converge into that point, okay, etc. And then I got like windows over here. Okay, I got more windows here, right? And then I got like maybe I have like a door over here that converges into that point, etc. That's how I want you all to kind of think of like one point perspective. Okay, so doing these exercises, that's the goal, is to kind of learn how to converge everything into one point. Oh, okay, I know what I want to show you all now. Sorry. So sorry, I was 20 miles going like 90 miles an hour. But that's kind of how buildings would work and stuff. Now, we can make this a lot easier though using the perspective tool. All right, so how does the perspective tool work? So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to press plus. All right, and then basically I'm going to click this. This is a perspective tool. Over here we have 1 point perspective, over here we have 2 point perspective, over here we have 3 point perspective, okay? You may use the perspective tool for your exercise and for your project. Well, I want you to do it for your projects for sure, but for your exercises, all right, here's what you're going to do is you already have a vanishing point set and a horizon line. All you got to do is move where you'd like it to be. Horizon line, you click and hold the little dot in the middle, and you should be able to move it. Yes, it should. You got to click this little box on the top over here. It's next to the French curve and the symmetry tool on top. Or you can press P for perspective. And then basically the first tab, the first little one is 1 point mode. The second one is 2 point mode. Third point is 3 point mode. And the fourth one, it says fisheye, but fisheye is actually, this is rather 4 point or 5 point depending on how you do it. But it can be either or. But basically, once you have this set, you can click and drag and move it around, okay? And the cool thing is you have the up and down, you have the X and Y axis, but the diagonal line moving around, as y'all can see, it changes depending on where my mouse is or my stylus. All right, so if I wanted to draw a box, if I wanted to go like in this direction, I could just go like this. And then I could go like this. Y'all kind of see where I'm going with this? Right? It's super helpful. What's up? I know, right? That's exactly what I said when I first used this. I was like, Photoshop, I love you, but this is probably like the best perspective tool I've ever seen. Like, the way I do perspective in Photoshop, it's pretty effective, but it's not as effective as having this. Yeah, it's crazy, So this is how I want y'all to do this exercise. Super simple. Totally. Totally. It's totally normal. In fact, like, oh, sorry, could you say that again? hmm Yeah, they usually can use whatever you want. Like I would say, usually like unless the company for some reason, and I don't see it a lot with many companies. I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but unless like there's something that you must do in Photoshop, Like for example, like if you're gonna photo edit, like and you're mostly gonna do it in Photoshop or Adobe stuff. But if you find another program that does the job better, and you can like export it into like the file that they required, then usually it's totally fine. So I would say like use as many programs as you want. Like when I do my environments, like something I started to do that I didn't do before was I started using 3D models. And sometimes I'll model them, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll just like go online, download some free models, throw them together in a scene, screen cap my image on my computer screen, and then I'll paint over it and change all the stuff. And all the forms done for me, all the perspective is done for me, all the lighting's already done for me. I just gotta make sure that it looks like a painting and it looks like my idea afterwards. So don't be afraid to use other programs for your work. Like they'll allow it for sure, and as long as you can deliver what they ask for, that's what they want the most. Like basically like doing good work and being on time is like the most important thing that you want to like get down. Whatever program you use and things like that, it's all up to you. Does that kind of make sense? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say like you should totally use Procreate to do the job that you need to do and throw it onto Photoshop whenever you need it for your professional work. It's totally okay and I encourage it. What's up? Mm. Uh-huh. I just wouldn't care. Yeah, like if I have to use this tool, like if I have to be honest to y'all, like I'm a pretty slow drawer. Like everything that y'all see on there, like the best stuff I showed y'all, that took like 30 hours to do. Like it's so much detail. I have to get the perspective right. Also, like I don't like photo bashing because like I just sell myself as that kind of artist. So I try not to like I would say like photo bashing makes me feel bad, but to be honest, if my job asks me for it, that's totally fine because like I don't feel bad at that point because at that point like the point isn't to make artwork look like art. It's more like you're making artwork so that they can get an idea. Because most of the time, like this is coming from a concept artist point of view. So let's just say I'm working for the film industry. Most of the time, your art director is going to see it or your boss who's not an artist. And the person who's not an artist, you have to make sure that because they're not going to care about like brushwork and stuff because they don't know what they're talking about. They just need the idea right away. So at that point, like using shortcuts is totally no problem because like I'm not like trying like if I like take the Notre Dame and I throw it into my scene and that's what they wanted to see, then that's it. Like I don't have to paint it out. I don't have to do whatever. It's exactly what they want. It's what I gave them, and like they just need a clear idea. But in another sense, like if your client asks for something else, if they ask for it to be all hand drawn and created, whatever, then that's where like I wouldn't try to like cheat. So I guess like the right answer is like as if it's for your job, it doesn't matter. But for your own personal art, if you want to sell yourself as a type of artist who doesn't photo bash or doesn't do shortcuts, that's totally fine with you. But that's totally fine to do. I mean, that's totally fine to do. So I wouldn't be like afraid about it. I wouldn't be like embarrassed about it because everybody has their own process and everybody has their way of doing things. The most important thing is to make sure, like I said, is to do good artwork. Just do good artwork and make sure that you deliver stuff on time. And in the end of the day, like, you'll be a much happier artist and things will go well. Hopefully that helps out. Uh-huh. Oh, totally. Yeah, you totally can. My only recommendation is try to separate out what you're selling. So for example, if you have like for environments, I have to have photo bash stuff. I have to have hand painted stuff. I have to have thumbnails, and I have to have like colors. I have to have line art. So like, but in the end of the day, it's only environments and maybe props. Does that make sense? So it's okay to have those things because believe it or not, like even at Nickelodeon, like for preschool like TV shows, they use photo bashing and matte painting for them, even though you wouldn't think they do because it's like baby cartoons, right? Like how do you photo bash that if it's for but like they do, and they use 3D models to build stuff, and then they'll like bring it into Photoshop. They'll paint over the 3D models in Photoshop, etc. So I would say like yeah, it's totally fine to have a bunch of stuff, but the most important thing is to make sure that you're selling your voice in all of them, regardless of the style. It should all be like something that says you. And also the second thing is you also want to think about is oh man, I just blanked out on that part. I'm so sorry. But yeah, just make sure that you're selling yourself, make sure you do good work, and then just make oh yeah, and then make sure that it's categorized as what you are trying to sell. So if you're a concept artist for environments, don't do like everything. You can have like an occasional character or two if you're an environment artist, like me. But like in the end of the day, like unless you're trying to be a generalist, which like usually a generalist is hired more for like small companies, family owned, and like they need more of a jack of all trades type of person. Usually for like triple A companies and like high tier companies and things like that, or even like as a high demand artist, you'll be selling like what you specifically do. Hmm. But yeah, any other questions before I kind of move on? No? Okay. So we got about like 9 minutes left. We might not have time to do lab, but if anybody needs help on their homework or stuff like that, I'll be happy to like do like a go-to meeting with y'all. Um, Before we get start, I guess here's what we'll do is I'll do like a quick sample for 2 point just so everyone kind of gets like what 2 point looks like because it seems like a lot of people are confused on 1 point versus 2 point. And then on Monday, we'll do some 2 point exercises. All right. And I promise y'all will have time to do the homework, okay? But just a really quick example of 2 point, just to kind of show you all. It's the same thing. So you want a horizon line, except you have 2 points instead of 1 point. And the only difference is, what is it? Like you'll have like two lines converge. So if I draw like a middle line here, see this would be like my building. Also, I also recommend I kind of like made a huge mistake or something that I don't like is I don't like having my points in the oh no, it crashed. I don't want to okay. Yeah, they'll be due next Wednesday. So you'll have like a week to do them. So anything I don't go over today, I promise I'll go over on like Monday. But let's see. But yeah, just a quick example of 2 point, just so everyone kind of has a idea like I was saying. I'm just gonna hand draw it. It's like gonna be faster. Okay, so if I'm doing 2 point, okay, my horizon line on one line, horizon line, two vanishing points. Okay, let's just say I want to do like a street. All right, that's gonna converge to there. Okay, that's gonna converge to there. That's gonna converge to there. Vice versa. All right, kind of like this. Okay, and then maybe we have like our street over here, and then we have like people walking on the street. Does that kind of make sense how 2 point looks, y'all? I have an exercise packet for next Monday that I'll kind of go over more in depth, but that's just kind of how 2 point works in general. Is you're gonna have 2 points on the horizon line, and then you're gonna have both sides of these kind of converging into it. And if you have windows, that's how it works too. Is you'll have like windows here, and then maybe you have like a door. then more people, etc. It's a tall person. But yeah, that's just kind of how 2 is going to look like. Like, I don't know, this is like my frame or something over here. Clouds, etc. All right. So that's kind of how 2 generally looks like. But like I said, on Monday, we're going to specifically go over that. All right. So really, really quickly, we got about 5 minutes left. So it's going to be, so I probably don't have time to do the other demos for today. But does anyone have any last questions for class or things like that before I dismiss y'all? Okay, sounds good. Okay. Why don't you stay after yeah, after this, let me look and see what the issue is. I'll have you share your screen and then we'll try and figure it out together. And then let me check the chat box really quick. Let's see. Wait, Maria's keeps crashing too. Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Any other questions before we call it a day? Uh-huh. Yes, so here's what I want y'all to do for homework, okay? So other than Monday's homework, so there's Monday's homework, so go ahead and go back to that if you don't remember. But for today, what I'm assigning is, so the first page is you're going to choose 5 props from these pages. 2 of them have to be from the bottom row. So 2 of them have to be complex props. The other ones can be simple props, okay? And you're going to just sketch them in Sketchbook Pro. All right, so just go ahead and draw on it, get used to the program. The point is just get used to sketching in that program. All right, figure out the tools, things like that, eraser, pencil, changing your line weight, etc. The second one, what I want you to do is redraw this exactly the way it looks like. I want to see the lines going in. I want to see the boxes. I want to see all of that. All right, it should look similar to this drawing. Okay, if the proportions of the boxes are off, that's fine. Like just make sure that the perspective looks correct. Um, let's see. For this one, I want use the perspective guide. If you want to draw the grid, be my guest, but use whatever tools y'all want. Yeah. So this is a digital art. Oh, I guess kind of answering the question from before. One of my teachers told me don't be embarrassed to use digital tools because there's a lot of like shortcuts in traditional too. So like just think of it as if this is a traditional tool. Like for example, like in perspective and traditional, we use rulers all the time. But rulers in like drawing, like people consider us cheating. But for some reason in perspective, it's not, you know? So like don't like be afraid to use these tools. Like use them because since this is a digital drawing class, my goal for this is so that y'all come out as digital artists knowing these digital tools while having that foundation in mind, that traditional foundation in mind, saying like, oh, okay, well, I could do this traditionally if I want, but this is how I would do it digitally. You know, for this one, if you want to get started on it, you can get started on it, but basically you're going to turn all these shapes into 1 point perspective. If you don't want to get started on it, I'm going to show y'all how to do this on Monday. Okay. And for this one, I actually have a video tutorial I'm going to send y'all to do. But basically what I want y'all to do is to pick a 4-letter word, okay, and then kind of make it look like this. All right. You can use your name. You can use any word you want. Just maybe like no curse words or something like that. Just keep it class appropriate. But but other than that, like that is pretty much the homework I'm assigning for the packet. And the last few homework is going to be for the project. So for your project, by Monday, I want y'all to post inside of this discussion board your mood boards. Okay, there should be 3 of them. One for your design, one for your mood, okay, and then one for your finished style look. Okay, so what you kind of expect your finished look to look like. All right, there should be at least 10 pictures for each board. All right, 10 pictures for each board, and you're just going to post them all up on here. The goal of the board is to make it so that when we all look at this, including yourself, especially yourself, that you know exactly what you're trying to go for. Does that make sense? Other than that, that's pretty much it. Do we have any questions about today or today's work or, things like that? It's a it's basically the perspective packet. So you got to draw those 5 props from those pictures. You want to do these 2 files over here, or these files over here. So you want to make sure to follow the instructions on top. Do them all in Sketchbook, in the Sketchbook app. Okay, you're going to draw out your name in perspective or 4-letter word of your choice. I also put a font down here for reference. Also, try to use like that font as reference, y'all. Don't use like something crazy. Okay. Um, you can this sheet over here too, the perspective sheet. Okay, you're gonna basically turn all these into 1 point perspective, kind of like you did the letters here. Okay, except with these shapes. All right. And then these last 2, okay, you're gonna just draw these boxes over here. Make sure to show everything I see here, except for like the signature, I guess. And then 5 props of your choice in here. Okay, 5 props. All right, the arrow does not count as a prop too, everyone. All right, so 5 of your choice, but 2 of them have to be from this bottom row. Okay, so 2 of them have to be challenging props. The other ones can be simpler ones. All right, any other questions before I let you all go for today? Uh, Oh yeah, yeah, you can stay in chat. I'll help you out. And then Tony, yes, the mood boards can be done on Google Slides. Just make sure to just make sure to like save the image after and save the slides as an image after and upload them onto the discussion board. Yeah, for those of you all using what is it? For those of you all using Windows, if you're not sure how to like, you know, do that, you can type in snipping tool and then like this should come up. All right, and then you should be able to like, I don't know, if you do it on Google Slides and you paste everything in there, you can like snip it. And then you'll have this over here, and then you can save your image and upload it onto the discussion board. But everything should be on the discussion board, okay? Same with the blog stuff. Don't forget to post your stuff on the blog, all right? Sorry, I'm like taking up like a little bit more time. But this is all part of following instructions. In the industry, you're gonna get some like really crazy like stuff you're not gonna know how to do. Your job is to find it out regardless, okay? Unless like it totally goes south for all of us, like we are going to like use the blog, and I do want these like this discussions to like things to be on the discussion board. Other questions? Let's see. Can you show us how to submit our homework through Google Drive? Sure. Yeah, I can show you how to do that in a bit. And then we should show our yes, and have your tablets by Monday because you know, you can't you can't draw these props without your tablet. All right, unless like, you're using your iPad and not using Sketchbook, not using the Sketchbook app, which I probably won't find out, but like, this is your education. So if you're gonna, you're only cheating yourself out of your education if you do that. But yeah, I will. But yeah, we should have our tablets by Monday so that all of us can start actually drawing. Because this class is gonna go from 0 to 100 really quick. I can assure you. Like the one thing every student has said about my class was, I had a lot of fun, but there was a lot of homework. And it's like, but I do walk you guys through the homework. I do ensure that you guys learn everything. But there is a tons and tons of homework, and this is the kind of class where like if you decide to slack off, I can guarantee you're not going to get a grade that you want. All right. But try your best, okay? I have students of all levels every time, all right? Try your best. I guarantee you, like, as long as you try your best and you improve in the class and you learn the tools and stuff, like, you will come out of this class, like, with a great education. But any other questions before, any other questions, I guess, yeah. No? And then just to submit your artwork, okay? So for classwork over here, so for the 1 point perspective packet, okay, just make sure to, you could just save everything as a JPEG and everything as a TIFF file and just throw it in. All right, so just make a new folder with your name on there, Jesse Pack. All right. And then if I go back on Sketchbook, and then here, I'll just save this. Okay, I'm gonna save it. Okay, I'm gonna save it as a TIFF file. Okay, and then you're just gonna name it you just name it the file name that it is. Okay, so you just have like 4 different files. So 1.exercise.tiff. All right, and then basically you're just going to go find that and upload that in there. Any other questions before I let you all go? Okay, cool, cool. And then I heard someone say something, but I couldn't hear them. Did anyone say anything other than anyone else said anything? Okay, for sure, for sure. All right then. In that case, everyone is everyone. Yeah, in that case,